Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today we're making HALLONGROTTOR. Any Swedes out there, feel free to correct my pronunciation on that one. You probably know them better in English as jam thumbprint cookies, but the actual translation for the Swedish name is raspberry caves. Fun fact. Alright, let's get started. To make these cookies, you're going to need 1 stick of unsalted butter, sugar, flour, cornstarch, baking powder, vanilla extract, and raspberry jam. You can definitely use store-bought jam, and if you don't have raspberry jam, you can definitely use any other type of fruit jam, even though the name for these technically translates to raspberry caves. First thing we're going to do is preheat the oven to 390 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to measure out 50 grams of granulated sugar. We're going to mix the dry ingredients in a separate bowl, and we're going to start with 140 grams of all-purpose flour. Then we're going to add in 1.5 tablespoons of cornstarch. This is really just to give it a more tender texture. Next, we're adding in 1 teaspoon of baking powder. I'm just going to use a whisk to mix the dry ingredients together and make sure there are no big lumps. Oh, I almost forgot, I'm going to add a little bit of salt. I'm going to set the dry ingredients aside until we're ready to add them. I am using a stand mixer today, but you can definitely do this by hand. I'm going to use the paddle attachment. To the bowl of the stand mixer, I'm going to add in 1 whole stick of butter. This is softened, unsalted butter. Maybe too soft, we shall find out. And I'm also adding in the sugar that we measured out earlier. Now we're going to run the mixer until the butter and sugar are combined. I'm going to scrape down the sides and the paddle. I'm adding in 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract to the butter and sugar. Then we're going to move on to the dry ingredients. I'm just going to stir this on low, and it should come together and start to form a dough. Alright, you happy with that? I can tell that my dough is a little bit on the softer side today. It's the middle of summer in Texas, so I think it's a little bit warm. I'm gonna put this in the fridge for about 10 minutes and then check it. And it should be ready to form into cookies at that point. My dough has cooled to a more reasonable temperature. You definitely still want it to be soft, but not like sticky, which it might be if your butter is too soft. So it should feel sort of like Play-Doh. What we're gonna do is divide the dough into 12 pieces, roll them into balls, and then put them on our baking sheet. You definitely don't have to do this, but I can tell that mine are softening again, so I'm gonna put these in the fridge for another 5 minutes. Now we're gonna get to the actual thumbprint part of these cookies, or the raspberry cave part of the cookies. So what we're gonna do now is take our thumb and press into the cookies to make an indent. And you wanna make a thumbprint big enough to hold maybe around a teaspoon of jam. If you get any big cracks, you can always just patch them up. You can also do this with a spoon if you don't actually want to touch the dough. Got my raspberry jam, and I'm actually going to take a teaspoon and just fill in each of the caves that we made. And more like half a teaspoon's worth. Alright, these are ready to go in the oven for 10 to 12 minutes. bake, but we're going to leave them on the tray for 5 to 10 minutes just to set up a little bit more because they are super soft cookie. Then we're going to transfer them to a wire rack to fully cool down. Super buttery. The cookie is really soft, but still has a bit of a crispy bottom. The jam, nice and tart, a really good cookie. Thank you so much for watching our video. We hope you try this recipe and see you for the next video. Bye.